How to use the new SatFish features to catch more wahoo this fall, winter, and spring, and whenever. It's been a minute. I'm Captain Ryan Van Fleet, Good Karma Sport Fishing. First, I want to thank all the new subscribers that signed up to the channel through the shorts. Whatever you guys do, just don't take my shorts too literally, as far as my comments go. So I've got a very dark sense of humor, I guess you can say. But anyhow, I like to put the shorts on there, keep people updated, show people what we catch and all that good stuff. But let's get into it here today because I have been getting a lot of questions about the new SatFish features as far as current goes and how to use them and all that other good stuff. So I contacted SatFish and they gave me a, you know, few little updates on it. So I just wanted to share with you and how I'm using it to catch wahoo right now. There's a lot going on down here as far as the weather goes. It's been an off hurricane season, which is great. It's also changed up the fish migrations a little bit for the good and for the bad. So something I'll talk about later on down the road. Let's dive into it here. So I want to show you a couple of features here with SatFish that were added that I've been added on. Uh, Two of the features that I use the most are the currents. Okay, so over here in the corner, you can see where my cursor's at over here. This is the top one is the your major ocean currents. Okay, so when I talked to Satfish, they were like, yeah, this is more for open ocean stuff. So what they did is they added another satellite option there. So and for the circulation and tidal currents, and this is what I am using now, and it's fairly accurate for the most part. There are times when it's not accurate, but you're relying on satellites and all that good stuff. But it is fairly accurate. Let's just put it like that. But I want to show you what's happening with this. I'm not going to look at the currents. I do recommend that for the guys that are fishing up on the East Coast and here in Florida, that you use this current button here, okay? And I'm just kind of like throwing this out right now because I'm just not seeing the correlations anymore to what I have been looking at. But I am having some very good luck with the circulation and tidal currents button here. So I'm going to show you guys. So this is more for open ocean here, Gulf Stream stuff. I don't know. As far as accuracy goes, don't get me wrong, it is fairly accurate. So sometimes I have a tendency to just kind of go off on these little tangents a little bit. So I got to bring myself back in on this stuff because I do get excited talking about it because I am always a student. I'm a very good student, meaning that I like to listen, I like to learn, and that's just always how I've been. If somebody has something interesting to say and I feel that I can learn from them, even if it's not interesting, I still like to learn and listen. But anyhow, so here's the circulation and tidal currents button. I'll show you the difference. And this is fairly accurate, okay? So today, and this does what I do like about it is how often it updates. Sometimes it's like 3 times a day. I've been seeing. But so today's October 16th. Make sure I got my date right because I'm like Melinda says I'm like when it comes to time, I'm on fisherman's time. So it's like somebody that says they caught a 30-inch mutton and then they put it down and I show them how to measure it. And it's like they gotta close the mouth on it and you gotta put it to zero. So that's a fisherman, okay? And then it turns up being 28. So, we're all like that. We've all been like that since we were kids. That's how a good fisherman is always like kind of has some sort of like, oh, the fish was that big, um, type of thing. And that goes on into adulthood. And I think some of us have take things a little bit too seriously nowadays. When it comes to how big that fish is. So, I don't know. Anyhow, so I want to show you guys this stuff, okay? So I got to get myself back into it. So I got October 16th, okay? October 16th. So this came out at 3 a.m. So when you get up in the morning and I like to get up early. I just like to have some coffee and then this is one of the first things I do is I after I have my morning, you know, mindset coaching with my wife, Melinda. Trying to get my mind right for the day and go through stuff and that really helps with performance on the water. So, and helping me stay dialed in. And we do those meetings every morning. And then after that, I move on to the SatFish. Okay. So I feel that it's a good process for me of getting ready in the morning, actually, because sometimes when I jump into this stuff right away, I got other things going on in my head that you need to clear out before you go out and fish competitively. I fish competitively when I'm with charters, so I want them to have the absolute best day. So my mind is 100% on them. So when you jump in right away to, like I said, I go off on these little tangents when you jump in right away on stuff and if you're not like in the zone, then you can really mess up your day really bad and you don't make the right decisions. And there's just a lot to it. And it takes a lot of work daily. So I would, if you guys are really wanting to clean stuff and get focused, then you can email my or get a hold of Melinda Van Fleet at here. Just you can send me a message and you can follow her as well on Instagram. So that and obviously all her stuff is in the show notes as well. But okay, so back to it. Like I said, I get off on these little tangents. Okay. It's like this, that's who I am, and I'm okay with that now. Okay. So October 16th, 3 a.m., you see you've got some south current. We've had this counter current here. It usually happens after these big storms. Happens every year. We get this south current that comes in. Okay. And then you'll see here it just continued on. It's still raging to the south. Okay. So what this can mean for, fishing the weekend, if it's still there, that means you got wind with the tide. So if you're still planning on going fishing, it may not be as rough. So you have to look at all that kind of stuff. So there's been days when, it's saying it's going to blow 15 against the current and you'll get out there and you've got and I've looked at SatFish and I'll say, oh, it's a south, they're saying the current's moving to the south or southwest and it's blowing with the wind. And it makes for a pretty nice day out there, actually. You got some, you get rollers 3 to 5s and very doable for reef fishing and stuff. So, but yeah, so those are the type of things that you should have SatFish for because you're never going to learn and you're not going to get an edge. And don't rely on somebody to tell you what the current's doing every day because that's not going to happen because once they figure out they're giving you too much information, they're not going to do it anymore. So that's just how life is. So anyhow, so you got the south current moving here, and it's been like that for a few days. It's been like that for a few days. It's like, it's got some scattered grass in there. It's like from the outgoings from the king tides, a lot of weed. And it's not setting up too well until the outgoing tide starts to happen. Okay. So what happens is when you got an outgoing tide, and now things are starting, you got that wind just kind of picked up a little bit more. So I want to show you this. When you have an outgoing tide with some south current, that sets up for a pretty good hard color edge along the reef. Okay, and so you'll see here what's going on, and this is true here. So I'm looking at here off like molasses down to alligator, and you can see the chlorophyll content's pretty high. So right through here, it's that's green water, but as you can see, there's a powdery blue edge, powder blue there, mixing of that water, and then you can see that there's some really that I'm sorry that there's a very good hard color change there, and that is happening, okay? Because yesterday there were very good reports of awesome dolphin fishing off of Ocean Reef, okay, along this edge, as you guys can see it here. I'll pull up my trusty marker. Maybe, maybe not. We shall see. All right. Yeah, this is cursor thing just drives me crazy on this thing. So anyhow, So as you guys can see, this is what we got. You see how long that extends. You got a little bulge there, but all that had dolphin on it, and more than likely there was some wahoo caught there out along that edge. Um, but and then then I want to go down to marathon. Okay. Now, historically, the wahoo fishing when it comes to the Wahoo always show up first around the Thunderbolt wreck and marathon. And I want to show you guys, and this happens every year, and then they show up in Key West. They're going to have, if you guys want to plan your Wahoo trips, then you should plan on heading down to Key West and Marathon uh, on this new moon because it's going to go off down there, especially after all this wind down there. I guarantee that especially if this hard color change holds in these depths. So I don't know what's going to go on the upper keys. I really don't. All I know is that this always goes off, and Key West always goes off. And you guys know where the fish are at nowadays. I mean, there's no secrets. Um, you go down, you get the speedos, you do your usual thing, get the bonehead bonitos and all that stuff. There's no secret, but there are a lot of secrets to some other stuff on when nobody else is catching anything. So but anyhow, that's the type of stuff I'm going to cover when it comes in our new trolling plug course. Is what I'm doing is in that course, I'm looking at SatFish, and I'm going to give some people, I give the people that signed up for that some color recommendations and some plugs that I haven't really gone over too much publicly in this new course. So I want to thank the guys that have signed up. So we're going to be looking at some SatFish and then some color recommendations, a deep dive into that as far as what I use personally. So I'm excited about that, along with something that I've never shared. So look forward to that new course. Okay, and if you want to get signed up for it, get signed up for it. You got a good go to goodkarmafishingtackle.com. The link will be in the show notes here, and get signed up. So while it's on the early bird, okay, price goes up Saturday. So okay, let's see. Okay, so let's get back to this here. We've got the what we got going on out here outside of, okay, so we got the Thunderbolt wreck here. And this is very interesting. This is from today. Okay. So you've got, I would consider this zone, if you're going to catch them, there you go. And you've got that nice, there you go right there. They're going to be in 175 into 150 down there. So that's where they're going to be at. And they've always been there. It happens every year. Everybody knows about it. But if you're new to it, this is what I look at when I'm looking at color on the chlorophyll content and the color edges. Okay. So um so I just want to show you that down there. And then I want to also too, we'll come in here for we'll go into tidal circulations. You can see how that south current's running all the way down. Now, I can't confirm that because I haven't been out there today. So, but all I know is that when I fished a couple days ago, it was still there and it was there on Saturday and did the same thing. And speaking of Saturday, there was a very good bite of Wahoo off the Thunderbolt, off a Marathon on Saturday, and it on the back side of the moon. Okay. They caught him, the reports were good. I heard about it, and somebody called me and said that somebody else caught him down there. So, but I want to show you why that area was good. And first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna go obviously to the watercolor here now. Okay. And we'll go to the high def color. And then we're going to go back to historical. So this is what I encourage you guys to do if you guys really want to learn is that um, you want to go back into like historicals of when people catch fish. And this is one thing good about SatFish. It lets you go back into historicals, and you got to be on it after like a while here. So the high depth one um, is there, but let's go there. That one didn't show. but I'll find it. Oh my gosh. And I'll go to the 3 day. There we go. All right. So we come down here to Marathon. And what I found was on that was Friday the 10th, but let's look at the 11th. Okay. And on the 11th here, I want to show you that's Saturday, the day it went off. And I want to show you some really good stuff here when it comes to eddies. Um, and when this stuff breaks off of that Tortugas eddy and it comes in here, the Wahoo, and if the wind's right and on the backside of the moon, obviously it's going to go off. And I wanted to show you guys some good, what I consider good stuff. Okay. This is good stuff. Boom, boom. But what's really good stuff is this. Okay. So you had these eddies that were moving throughout the day down there on the 11th and the 10th and the 11th. Okay. So we'll go to the 11th here, let it populate. There we go. So you can see these are these circular spots, but then you got the chlorophyll on the outside here. These are, I call those Wahoo like portals, man. Once they get into a happy spot, they're just traveling in that stuff, and then that's where they stay. They eat, you know. Then sometimes these eddies will stay there for a couple days, for the whole day. They'll spin in there, depending on what the current's doing and stuff. Or you've got a series of eddies that are traveling through, and you can see them moving just, like that. So anyhow, so I went off down there. That's kind of what you should be looking for, really. You can see the chlorophyll concentrations over here are a little high. So probably be some off-colored water, but you take a look at this, and I'm like, boom, that's good. Now, there's just some times where those fish are just in there. They're just there, and you just got to keep them honest. If you don't have the right stuff and you're trolling high speed stuff, and when this water is like this. You're just fish can't see it. So um it's just not right for them. Or a lot of small, I'm not going to get into high speed stuff and that. I cover that, and I'm going to be covering that into the in the new trolling plug course, the advanced trolling plug course actually. So um so yeah, then we come up here to the Upper Keys, and it's good water, but it was all dirty in there. So, anyhow, so I wanted to jump on here, talk a little bit about the new SatFish, what I would recommend that you kind of give you a few things that I look at. I don't really like, I'm just, I spent a lot of time at it. I mean, not a lot of time. I just look at it in the morning, and I get a lot of questions about it. I do like to use this. I am taking a lot of historicals and I'm sharing in my groups so they know what to look for coming up here in the months of November in my Angler's Edge group where we talk about the Wahoo spots. Okay, we're talking about Wahoo spots, how to find them, where they're going to be. It's not like what's the word for it? Anybody can go out there and catch fish when they're biting. Okay, anybody anybody. So I think that's all I'm going to share with the SatFish here. I think that, so anybody can catch fish when they're biting, guys. Okay. It's really about consistency and, catching them, all the time, even when the water's a little off. You got to do some homework and you got to look and see where these pockets are at. And you also got to do a little math about how these eddies are moving. So with the current, just because they're just because you didn't see it in the morning doesn't mean you're not going to see it in the afternoon. I've had instances where I've been like out there and I worked an area pretty good, then I ran down to another area, didn't catch crap and then I was like, well, let's run back and check it out. Everything's different now. It's like every tide is a different day. That's why every tide is a different day. And there's no golden rule about when these fish are supposed to bite. They'll bite throughout the day if you have the right stuff and you're moving Uh, almost let that one slip, didn't I? Anyhow, so that's all I got. Um, I look forward to the new course that I got going on. I hope you guys found this. I encourage you guys to get signed up for SatFish. Yes, I am an affiliate, but I also really enjoy using it. And you can use my code Good Karma, get $20 off. You got there's a free there's a free trial with it, and just try it out, man. If you don't like it, then don't use it. That's it. I mean, what do you got to lose? So it's just like I tell guys that, oh, I've been fishing the same spot for, so many years. And then I go, why don't you just go try another spot? Well, I was like, oh, what do you got to lose? Who's watching? Who gives a shit? I mean, really? I mean, what's going to happen to you? Um, give it a little time. Give other spots a rest. You don't have to go do what the other guy's doing. Just go try something different, man. What's going to happen to you? Oh my God, you're going to get struck down by lightning because you went and did something that your neighbor didn't go, like your neighbor told you not to do because been doing it for 20 years off the elbow and in 175 feet for mutton snappers in one of the most pressured zones there is. So think about it a little bit. Think it just, you know, yeah, sometimes I go off on these little tangents, but just trying to help you guys. That's it. Um, and I've helped out a lot of guys. I have, and I appreciate you guys that reached out and said thank you over the years. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll try to put out a few more of these videos here on a regular basis here as I have time in between charters, and that's it. And like I said, we'll have all the information in the show notes. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.